wishing everyone a beautiful state and harmonious state of existence and thinking. We're going to be talking about motives of self. All right. I'm going to be reading to you from the book, The Community of Self. Just keep in mind that this message is only for the elite of minds. Those minds or mentalities that are other than supreme, dominant, elite, victorious, phenomenal, fabulous, tremendous, omnipotent, omnipotent, etc., etc., etc. If you're other than that, then you might want to keep scrolling. You know what I'm talking about? Just go on and pass me by. Yes, it's a wonderful day for me. How is it for you? How's your days faring? Do it seems like you're becoming more vibrant? Are you feeling more energized throughout the day? Are you seeing things in your mind's eye before they even make manifest in the physical? People, these are all telltale signs that's letting you know that it's your time and that you are in charge. Despite of whatever circumstances, situation going on, just know that it's supposed to be going on for you so that you can show and prove that yes, you are all that you say that you are. Huh? I'm not going to be long this evening. I just want to be sure that you understand how this energy is for when you're ready to go far beyond in what it is to be human. If you wish to remain human for a little while, I understand. It's not easy being me. You know? And you know I'm fabulous. Every aspect, every element, every essence of you. This is the way I see it, in regards as to what anyone ever will think. I'm not here for nobody's thinking. We have had among the earliest citizens in the self community are the drivers or instincts. You hear me? There's always been drivers and instincts. They are called drivers because they are movers of the self. They are sometimes called instincts because people are born with these drives. Drives are not taught, though the object or goal of the drivers is learnt by people. Understand and understand this now. All of these drivers can be included under two major types or classes. One type of driver is movement towards what gives pleasure or satisfaction. These drivers, I'm sorry, let's not forget the other type of driver, which is the reverse, right? In that it moves one away from what causes pain or dissatisfaction. It reminds me of the Ethiopian ancient proverb that states, a fool satisfies his or her desires, a wise person eliminates them. Pound to that, people. Pound to that idea. And you'll see that it will serve you well in time if you but understand. So reading on, these drivers are the mental speakers for the physical body and its needs. Those things necessary for physical survival require mental representation. Food, for example, is necessary for human physical survival. Everyone will agree on that, right? Since food brings pleasure or satisfaction to a hungry person, we are naturally attracted to food. Hunger causes pain or dissatisfaction. So the person is driven away from conditions that cause hunger, hence an empty stomach. Anything that causes damage to the physical borders of the self is experienced as painful. Cuts, burns, collisions, etc., are all potentially damaging to the physical parts of the self. When such threats to the physical self are present, the entire community becomes immediately motivated for what? That of fight or flight. The entire physical self and mental self is alerted by such threats. The memory, reason, senses, and ego all focus their specialized capabilities or capacities on this threat. Memory of previous dangers and previous uh, dangerous situations and people can set off the same threat. Avoidance alarm as occurs when the real danger is present. This causes anxiety or fear. Very often we are nervous or anxious simply because we are in the presence of a person or situation which was threatening at some other time. Anything present when we experience pleasure can become pleasurable. Let me say that again. Anything present when we experience pleasure can become pleasurable. We then learn to seek anything that may have brought pleasure in the past. Money is not directly pleasurable. However, because it provides for many physical pleasures, most people are driven to acquire the money. So the drivers are very necessary, especially for the physical survival of the person. They attract us to what sustains us or perpetuates us physically. See? They move us away from the things that may physically damage us. If the drivers are permitted to rule the self, the person becomes only a physical pleasure seeker. They are concerned only with what brings physical pleasure, such as food, sex, and physical relaxation. If the drivers are given free rein, they will drive the entire community to seek only pleasure. Fear can come to rule, and the person is constantly nervous or anxious in their persistent drive to avoid the pain. Rulership by the drivers can be very limiting because the person is bound by physical pleasures and pains. If woman is defined as mind, the person ruled by demands of the body is not a man or a woman. You see, almost at the time of birth, the person begins to establish contact with the outer world by way of the body's windows, known as the senses. The senses are another very important part of the community of self. All right? And this is what we talk about, the different aspects of thyself. We went into the motors of self. Now we're going to move into the senses of the self community. And the senses are another very important part of the community of self. Sight, hearing, smell, taste. Let's not forget psychometry, clairvoyance, mental telepathy, intuition. Okay, these are also aspects and senses of yourself. See? In fact, the senses are another very important part. Stuff will be locked behind a wall of darkness, silence, and complete isolation from the beautiful and informative physical world and spiritual which surrounds us. The senses are to the community of self what communication is to communities of people. Let me say that again. The senses are to the community of self what communication is to communities of people. So, in other words, I need to be just as much in tune with myself before I even step out to get in touch with you. Because if not, I ain't got nothing really to give you. It's really something profitable to communicate about, which means dialogue. It is the basis of contact. So says it here in the book, The Community of Self, written by Naeem Akbar. It's a very good read. I recommend that you go out and get this. Check. I want to appreciate and give energy to the person who put the thumbs up on the YouTube. Whoever put that thumb up, may they be rewarded in their heaven. I can't. They're going to be rewarded whether I say so or not. I just want to weigh in on it. I'm sending out. We don't understand how when we send out good wishes is actually macro functioning state and event of what we have here on Earth when you cash out somebody a currency. See, keep in mind that money is also known as currency. So currency can be that's look at it. That's a terminology for electrician, someone who's in electric. They deal with currency. So how are you equating currency with money, finances? You see? So since you're the highest form of all energy, currency, you see, then you have to understand how you also can be rewarded just by the well wishes and thinking of another individual. There's no difference in that of the macro and the micro. It's just that it's only one is tangible and the other is intangible. That what goes on in and through your mind, nobody can see. But does that make it that it's not real just because nobody can see? If you close your mouth and you tell yourself, I love you, I ask you, what energy is said that, huh? Without my lips moving, and I looked in a mirror and quoted or made the statement of anything for that matter, the chit chat that goes on inside my head, what is that? Who is this? This is what I need to identify with. This is this individual that's dialoguing and speaking inside my head when my mouth is not moving. I need to be real clear as to who and what that is. Do you know? And you might find this hard to believe. Most people don't understand what that is. Not that they don't care or don't have any concern. It's just that they never really gave it no thought. The, the educational system in which I come from does not propel me to come out here and do for myself. And you can't find nowhere in this Eurocentric ideology that states otherwise. No, you are to perpetuate and institute their bureaucracy. That's what you go to school for. You do not go to school to empower yourself. You go to school to empower the entity or a entity, a power of within self. Let's all face it. You're not going to be able to get better until you do. You can beat around the bush all you want. You still going to be the slave. You still going to be the sheep in the herd. You may be kicking and crying and scratching and biting, but that's about it. All they're going to do is give you a little needle in your arm. You calm down. So, again, the senses are to the community of self what communication is to community of people. It is the basis of contact. Without such contact, there could be no exchange. There will be no growth within the community. Senses add to the drivers the direction for proper physical maintenance. They orient towards those objects which satisfy the drivers. They also provide windows into the relationship between the inner life of the self community and the outer world. It is through these senses that humans can give some satisfaction by the sensory relationship between inner needs and the outer object. These inner needs may emanate from the body or other parts of the mind's community. The processes of the physical world are also a source of instruction for the development of the inner light. Observation of these processes is an essential part of learning how they work and making them part of our own growth. There is no doubt that the senses are a critical part of the community of self. But if the community